Oh boy, I'm going to let my voice be heard today. So I was on Facebook, and there are a couple Facebook groups for this place that are not really officially created by the government, not government here, but nonetheless, people are like, "Here's a survey, fill it out." It's from officially from the township, so let's do that now. All right, so let's do it. Start survey. The Woodlands Township has commissioned an independent research firm to survey residents of the Woodlands. Well, that's me. Let's make this window a little smaller here. There we go. It's vital for our town planning purposes. Your participation is greatly appreciated. Yeah, this will be the success, absolutely. Responses are anonymous. Right. If you are an adult, yes. All right, continue. Social media. Continue. Yes, I do. We are in Indian Springs, right? So basically, you're asking me to lie, right? What are the best? Well, look, I mean, all right, so it looks nice, I guess. Well, no, no. Schools, it's just extra tax money right there. Okay. So that's a quiet. Oh boy, that's the one thing you can't say about this place. That is at the bottom of our list. Conveniently located. Well, I mean, convenient to what, right? Doesn't that imply that you're going somewhere and this where you are is close to? I don't really go anywhere. I mean, I guess I go to. I guess it's closer. So yeah, that is the number one place to be here. Absolutely, a sense of community. Okay, open space. Well, the woods out there are okay, except again the leaf blowers. Well, I would say it's often not. I would say in some ways there's still the grime and filthiness and garbage that's associated with a place that's run down. But at the same time, you have constant leaf blower noise and constant wood chipper noise, like yesterday's video, right? And so it's like, especially you would expect if you're having that much noise and that much waste of time on this cleanliness, that you won't have, the stray this and that around. You still have crap everywhere, It's not that bad, but again, I would expect pristine cleanness. If it's like, we're going to make all this noise all day. It's like, no. Shopping and restaurants, well, I don't really go to those, so that's not relevant. Nice, friendly, okay. Okay, I mean, I guess it could be worse, right? But let's just say it's the parks. It's kind of safe, I guess. I haven't heard of any murders here, I guess, so there's that. And I guess the trees are nice. No, the trees are nice. Do we have the camera here? It's kind of going to be tough to put back. Let's see. That's nice. That's nice. Okay. Too bad you can't really enjoy it because it's too loud half the time. Anyways, so let's continue. Well, fire department's, I guess, important. You know, if there's a fire emergency. I guess, I mean, it's relatively close. It's built up enough to where there are a couple hospitals within non-city limits. Neighborhood watch, well, I mean, right. It would be important, but it's not like, do we have anything like that? I don't know. I guess neighborhood watch is me taking my midnight walks. I'm watching things and being blinded, but not so much anymore with these glasses that I'm testing out. I've had these for, let me see, about a week now. And I'm concerned, is it getting kind of looser on me? It's not really falling off of me, right? So they're pretty good at night. I have contacts in and stuff like that. So I guess it solves a lot of the obnoxious light issues, but whatever. So I guess I don't know. We need garbage picked up, it's also cold. This is the first kind of cold night. I just turned the heater on, but garbage collection. We don't want, right, yeah, you could just throw it in the garbage, like, come on. See, here's the scam with recycling. Unless people are willing to pay you money for the recycling, it's kind of a waste. It probably ends up in the same place. Covenants enforcement. Well, it depends on what the covenants are. It's kind of like the HOA stuff. People are like, I hate HOAs. It's like, well, why do you hate HOAs? Do you hate HOAs because they don't enforce good rules or because you're just an asshole? And right. Covenants, deed restrictions. So, well, look, the funny thing is I read through the covenants and deed restrictions. They mentioned the color temperature of light bulbs. They have to be 2700 or less. Now, the township itself is violating the residential standards for the streetlights, which makes no sense. And then, of course, no one's enforcing this, right? No one's enforcing that your bulbs are 27. Half the bulbs here are super white now. I wouldn't say half, but an annoying number of them. So I guess it's important, but again, you don't have it, so parks. Well, parks are okay, I guess. I mean, that's one advantage. Swimming pools. Well, like the public ones we talked about where I think they rent it out to swim teams, but you can't show up there. And then they close it in the summers at like 5. So it's like, okay, can you open it like at night or something? I don't know. So it's not important for that. I mean, it would be, but I mean, I have my own place and I don't know. I mean, I guess it would be important, but not the way they run it, right? Recreation. I don't know what that means. Recreation programs, what, like, okay, not to me. Well, this is one of these double-edged swords we were just talking about. Yeah, it'd be important to maintain the medians, but not if you're coming by at 1 a.m. with one of those macaroni blower noodle things that they do. It's like, yeah, I'd like it clean, but not if it's noisy at 1 a.m. or really any time. So again, whatever. Crime prevention. I don't like crime, I guess. I mean, speed limit. Well, so the whole spiel about you have the main roads here. You know what? Let me blow my nose. I have to pause this. All right, hopefully we're back. So, it's just that phlegmy, it just doesn't work too well when you're trying to talk. Speed limit and traffic signal enforcement. So like, oh yeah, there's tons of red lights that are being run here. The worst is when you see that, oh, your red changes to like a green. And then you're like, oh, I don't need to slow down. That is like the worst time here because so many people run their red lights as yours turns to green. No, it's awful. So now part of that is also just the bad design of the roads, right? Part of it is that because of the woods here, you can't really see, unless you're at the intersection, you can't really see cars coming because a lot of stuff is just, the trees kind of block the view. The other problem is the main arteries of the town are 45-mile-an-hour limits, which itself is a bit high, okay? The problem is because those are 3-lane roads, okay? They're 3-lane roads, and they're really straight. They're really well built, so people go 60 on them as if it's a highway. Because if you build a straight line, people just go faster. So the number says 45, but in reality, it's built like a highway. So you're going to use it like a highway. Combine that with intersections, because it's not actually a highway. So then you get a bunch of, next door, they're always complaining about somebody got hit this way, that way. And again, I personally experience tons of red light runners all the time. Influencing growth, and that's the incorporation thing. I guess that's about, okay, whatever. Improving mobility. Well, yeah, the geniuses are going to improve mobility. I'm sure they're going to figure that out. I mean, they can't figure out light bulbs. I guess it's important. Sustaining our tree. Yeah, it's important. Nothing's going to be done. Attracting businesses to. Yeah, it's not important. No, sorry. It's. Can we have a place where it's like good to live and businesses are like kind of a second. Only once you have a good quality of life, no noise, then we can deal about businesses. Because at this point, I'd rather be a poor person living in a tent as long as it's quiet than this nonsense, Planning for the... I guess planning is important for the future. I guess, all right. So these are very hard-hitting concerns. Continue. From what I've seen, there's always fires here. I mean, I don't want to say that, but there's fires enough to where you see they have a good response time. So I'll say the Woodlands Fire Department is actually independent, I think. It does its own thing. They're pretty good. I don't know, really. I don't even know if it exists, garbage collection. Um, I mean, they come once a week. They do what they're... No, no, they're poor. Sorry. No, they often... The bullshit is they don't pick up the refuse after a hurricane, and then I have to worry about all that nonsense. I've seen that before where I called them. And because the schedule here is on a Friday today, you put the refuse, like the branches out there, and it's like sometimes they take it, sometimes they don't. And then you call them, but because it's a Friday, they're, oh, well, we'll come back out. And then they come out, and then like I once saw, this was like 2 weeks in a row where I called them, and I did see an extra truck come by. They just picked up the extra trash bags from another neighbor, and they came like on a Thursday, which is stupid anyways. It was just, the whole thing was a mess, so we're not going to. Right. I don't use it. There's a separate rolly bin for that. I've never used that. Covenants, that's pretty poor as well. I mean, I've seen people complain about the code enforcement for their gazebo. They had a gazebo that was, like they built a gazebo without a permit, and then because it's permanently there, they got a bunch of nasty grams from the township over it. So I guess. But, the lights, the township itself installs shitty street lights everywhere, even though in the residential code, they specifically mentioned 2,700, incandescent-like bulbs. But, hey, doesn't matter. Township itself ignores it. Parks and recreational facilities. Well, I mean, out in the forest, there's a tree that fell, and it's the trail is there. Like, what's the point? They don't even come pick that up. I almost thought of going out there with my saw, my little, not even chainsaw, but my hand saw. But sometimes people do that themselves out there. If there's something, if there's like a big enough branch that I can put out of the way, I've done that before, but. It's just like, no, that's pretty poor as well. So, swimming pools, well, I don't know. I don't really use it. I don't know what the recreation for. Well, that's pretty poor as well. I mean, that's pretty poor as well. So, half the time, again, you have all the noise from the little macaroni noodles that come by and blow out the thing. And sometimes you do see that it's cleared out, of course, so you have all this noise. But then, a tenth of a mile down the road, that was never cleaned, so it's just as messy as it will ever be. So there isn't a clear, consistent clearness of it, especially here in the fall. So then why ever do it? Enough people walk by to where it's just going to be not covered by leaves, I guess, So the whole thing is just badly done. Because again, you get the worst of both worlds. It's still messy. It still is covered in leaves half the time, but it's also noisy. So what's the point? Very inconsistent. Crime prevention. Well, I don't know what the programs are for that. I mean, I guess, speed limit. Oh, that's piss poor. I mean, that you see racers all the time. So, there's that influencing. Well, that's poor. I mean, without the incorporation that the current board or the current people on the board basically voted down or were against, they're shills for the. We did the video on that, right? A lot of them are just shills for the for Howard Hughes that doesn't want incorporation, because then you can zone them out in some places and put more restrictions on them. Improving mobility and yeah, well, the traffic's gotten worse here even in the last few years. So that's for certain. Yeah, sustaining our trees and natural environment. Well, I mean, again, the clear cutting that happens, that whatever. So that's poor. Attracting. Well, I don't know much about what the job situation is, so I can't opine on that. Planning for the future. Well, that's, of course, poor because all the rest of them are here. So that's basically it. We love our firefighters. Everyone else sucks. Continue. Well, what I just said. They don't seem to pick up the branches, etc., especially after the hurricane. Right, that's true. So right, right, right. So my recommendation would be make Waste Management. That's the company that does it. If it's by the side of the road. Is there anything else that I don't like about the garbage? I mean, I don't like the beep beep noise the thing makes, but no one cares about that, so I even put that here. They don't seem to pick up the branches, etc., especially after the hurricane. Even okay, no reason was given for no pickup. Multiple times and spoke to different people. Yeah, may preconditions. I spelled that wrong. Preconditions. Uh, if it's by um, whatever that means, I don't know. You're supposed to leave it there, but again, they don't pick it up. And I remember they picked it up years ago. In the same, I cleared out a lot of the vines that were killing things here. I just pulled it off for an hour or two, dumped it out in the front. They took it away. Same concept. They didn't take it away. So it's like you can't rely on these people to take away two branches. It's ridiculous. All right. I guess that's it. Why did you rate your satisfactions? Well, I mean, the light situation, for example. Well, okay, let's see. One example, right. Mentions using 20. No one is enforcing. In fact, enforcing that. You people! Uh, the township itself is replacing all the nice, mellow, orange street lights with blinding white lights. Not sure how blinding motorists is safe, and for pedestrians, it very uncomfortable, like morgue lights, morgue or Walmart parking lot lights. Not very scenic. Really. Okay, one example. The mentions, the standards mentions. Well, it's one of those plurals that could be whatever. Using color and below light bulbs for right. In fact, the township itself, you people, is replaced. Mhm. With these. And for pedestrians, okay, well, that gets the message across. What? Right. Well, We've done a video on this too. Right. Um, a tree fell over in the preserve main trail, and it's been there for a week or so. Takes right. For example, for example. All right. Why did you rate your satisfaction with maintaining? Right. Well, I guess we could have just done it instead of repeating ourselves, and that's fine. They're often. But how do we phrase this, right? So is that a huge problem, right? Well, is often very noisy. You have right. The golf carts. Many trails are still messy. Use something less loud. And even with all that, all yeah, you have a lot of the yopons coming in and they like block the path, or there's branches that are really low, and at night if it's in your blind spot, like walk into them. So yeah, I do that all the time. So all right. These noodle uh, uh blowers on golf carts that blow the trails out. Let's clean. Yeah, let's proofread. This is very exciting. Cleaning them is often very noisy. The township has these noodle-looking blowers on golf carts that blow the trails out. Too noisy. Use something less loud. And even with all that, many trails are still messy and overgrown. The neighborhood boulders, as I call them, often no leaves, and even if there were, usury. Too loud. There we go. 3% at a time. This is going to take forever. How speed? Well, many run red lights. Lights. Too much. There we go. Too much loud racing at night. All right. Why did you rate your satisfaction with influencing growth in as poor? Well, without incorporation, no seat at the table. So like you don't really get the proper. You're not a city, so no one takes you serious. So that's basically what it is. You also don't receive some funding and whatever. The point is, it's ridiculous that a place with 120,000 people, everything else is incorporated. What was that thing with the aquarium stuff? It was some 4chan thing where you had these weird Google Maps thing. I think that was either in Shenandoah or Oak Ridge North. Both of these are little pissant little towns of 4,000, 5,000 people. In fact, let's look it up now. Shenandoah, Texas. Shenandoah, Texas is right. 3,500 people. Oak Ridge North. That is, Oak Ridge North is Wikipedia. Let's take a look at it. 3,000. So both of these things that are fully, this is the Woodlands right here. If you can see the cursor, here's the red. The Woodlands is basically this gray area over here. And Oak Ridge North is, I think, north of Shenandoah here. So you have a perfectly incorporated city for 3,000 people. For Oak Ridge North, 3,500 people. 120,000 people, nothing. I believe that's Conroe. I don't know what this is. But this is Conroe over here. That's obviously incorporated. In fact, how big is Conroe now? Just the official. Let's take a look at that. The Conroe. Conroe, Texas has, oh my goodness. A lot of people moved to Conroe, I think, from, I don't know where. It's a big boom here. So literally, we are the biggest in the county here. Now, the Woodlands does stick over to Harris County in the south. The newest development that's still officially the Woodlands is in Harris County. So I don't know how much. This is most likely the Woodlands is the biggest thing here, and it's not incorporated. I mean, it's just unbearable, that basic things, you know. So that's basically our answer. Literally nothing done about it. Everyone else controls how the roads get expanded here. Roads get expanded here, okay. Clear cut the Aria / Mitchell Island. Now, for listeners to this program here, you know, they might not know what the fuck this is about, so let's look it up. So if you look at Google Maps, let's go to the Woodlands, right? And you see this is Lake Woodlands, and this is a little island here. Don't switch, leave me alone. Right? Now they're calling it, the developer has it, I think Howard Hughes, and they call it Aria Island, some fantasy name. It was unofficially named Mitchell Island, named after George Mitchell, the guy who started this whole place. He sold it to what would become Howard Hughes, or what ended up, right? But the point is, we can use Google Street View to see the craziness that's unfolding here. Let's see here. Oh, because of all the trees, you can't see the island. Okie dokie. So this area was being built. You know what? We can see the satellite. Oh, Google Earth has that. So you can see that. Ah, boy, we don't have. Hold on. This is not good. Do we need to see this? Okay, hold on. What is this? Okay, this is from 2021, right? So you can see the island over there. That's the island over here. It's the big blur. This is the island. You can see it. So they took this island. All right. Let's go over the bridge. We might. Okay, that's another good location. And let's go over. Maybe this is a newer one. 2017. Well, at least we see what it looked like in 2017. See, that's the island right here. The backside is a little more bare. All right. Right, that whole thing. All right. And this is what you have now. Now this is right, but let's see again. 2024, perfect. So if we turn around, because this is facing the north end of it where the office buildings are. And there we go. You see that? You see how they kept like literally 3 trees and it's going to be congested with islands, right? So that's the butchery that happened. In fact, we can do street. Okay, perfect. This is a great location to be ogling at things. You see? 22 years ago is when they started stripping the whole thing. And there we go. All right. So that's basically what it is because you don't have control over the zoning, you don't get to say, well, actually, here's how you're going to sustain it. There used to be bald eagles in these trees, so bye-bye bald eagles. You're a bunch of big, fat sky chickens now. We don't care about you anymore. So they kind of took that over. And, it's a nice scenic spot, but at what point do you destroy enough of the original that all of it sucks? Well, I think we found the answer. Right. You know what? Let's look at the lighting here. You see the lighting here? Did this change? Because we can't tell the lights. No, the casing didn't change. No, it did not. No, the casing did not change. My goodness, look at this. So this is before the this is North Shore Park here, where you have the blinding lights. Now notice how I think they may have moved the playground into this area. Of course, they have to cut that out. They cut a little bit of it. Yeah, they cut a little bit. They moved the playground that used to be here. They moved it over here. Well, this is an interesting bridge. Or when did they do that? Yes. They moved. Yeah. So, but notice. So there's a couple things to notice. Do you notice how there's no? Okay, the flag thing. You didn't have a pavilion for it. So everything is just, look at the development here. So again, you had the playground. I don't notice any light poles at night here for lighting. Now it could be kind of blurry, but we definitely know there's lighting now. Where are the... I can't really tell. I mean, there's one, yeah, right in the, but that's for the bridge. I wanted to see where the big ass light, oh, here's one. Is that it? It kind of blends in with trees. It's not that great, but let's go back here. Is there anything by the flagpole? Maybe. Look, the lightning was a lot better, or the light poles were maybe there, but the lights were not as obnoxious, obviously, as with everything else. So, yeah, and the boat, they put a boathouse here because they put a rowing club here. That's a relatively new development. Oh boy. What's going on here? Oh boy. I hate it when they sometimes don't have, yeah, you move one over and it just like pretends it's a totally different location. So that was July. Okay, May. Okay, 2015. Okay, so 2015 is 2015-16, about 10 years ago is when they built all of that. All right, well, that's a lot of fun, I'm sure. And, yeah, so that's, maybe there was well, I think there was a boathouse here before. I just think it was a lot smaller. Was there a boathouse here? Doesn't look like there was a boathouse here. No, you had those things there. Anyways, whatever. So, it's 2024. Okay, hold on. So these are the old lights here. So even in March of 2024, you still have these old lights down here. Okay. Yeah, are these old lights? Or are these the flat? Well, I guess we can just take a look back in time. No, these are the old lights, the square boxes, yeah. So you had these, right, I mean, you still, of course you had these. These are the new ones, yeah, okay. Well, that's what it is. So, yeah, that's all this stuff was replaced this year, so it just drastically got worse and worse. And then, of course, all the overdevelopment here where they put in all these big-ass houses here. Why are we going so slow here? Wow, that is the slowest thing. Right, let's go over here. These things are new, too, right? You can see in the street view here, none of that was there. Now, okay, you got to build some buildings and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I guess, but At what point is it that you've destroyed enough of the woodlands that it's really not the woodlands? It's just a few trees left, right? And they're going to be, oh, they're building a huge project here. Right, this is a big-ass condo thing here. This is going to be a 20-story thing right over here. How come we're not doing anything about traffic? What? Well, because you're building 20-story buildings here, and the people have to go somewhere, and they're using cars, you know. You can walk to the store there, but it's not the same thing. It's not really walkable here, so, you know. This area specifically is a little more walkable, but let's get real. No one's going to be doing that. So it's like, okay, you take that, you take the island, and then it's like, okay, tons more people, doesn't look woodsy anymore. There we go. So anyways, that was a nice 20-minute distraction there. Right. For example. Continue. Well, all of the previous. Continue. Well, I mean, one way of looking at it is the township taxes right over here. So the township taxes are a small percentage of the overall tax bill I have. I would say the Woodlands Township of the property taxes, it's a little over 10%. Let's say 15%. Okay, so it's like, okay, what exactly am I expecting for, what is it? It's 400 a year, divide by 12, it's 35. What am I expecting for $35? Right, it's like, okay, right. But that's the whole point, is a lot of the things that I was thinking of, like the street lights, that you're not saving money by putting on crappy lights that a lot of the times go out. I still have to do a video on that, where on Gosling, a bunch of the new lights that they put in this year, they just don't work. They're flashing, they're throbbing. They're just not very good. I mean, never mind the aesthetically awfulness of it, and that I have to purchase glass. Speaking of $35 a month, I mean, this one was like $40. So, it's saving money. It's like I literally paid a month's of taxes just to get these things, just so I could drive, right? So a lot of the solutions don't require a massive amount of money. You know, it requires a will. It requires about 3 brain cells rubbing together, which it doesn't look like the township has all put together, right? So that's unfortunate. So it's not that much money, and that's kind of the shame of it, because it doesn't need to be that much money, right? It's just don't replace the decent lights, and that's it. You know, I looked up those sodium lamps that they have, because that's the excuse is, oh, well, you know, this is just expensive. The sodium bulbs, they cost like $20. Okay? And if you're concerned about, oh, it costs so much money, I think, as I've mentioned, a lot of these sodium lamps are like really super wattage, huge watts. You can buy smaller ones. You're using half the wattage, and it's less lights. And they last like 21 years based off of 3 hours a day. Now, it's on the night, so it's more, but all the LEDs are rated for 3 hours as well. That whenever they're like, this will last 1 billion years, it's like, it's all based on 3 hours. Now, I don't know how they measure that, especially with new technology. How do you know it's going to last 21 years, especially when so many of them go out? So we know it's all bullshit. But the sodium lamps are rated for 21 years. I looked it up on Home Depot. You can buy for $20. Okay, so these are really long-lasting lights. They last as long as LEDs. Maybe they use a little more electricity or wattage, but even the orange ones are a little too bright, so go down on those. Problem solved, right? No, because that takes 3 thoughts, and they don't have that to spare. So I would still say it's poor value for money. It's not that it's so expensive. I mean, look, if you told me, let's have a place without leaf blowers, okay, no obnoxious lights. These are the 2 main stupid fucking issues that could be solved in 5 minutes. If you told me, you know what, you're going to have to pay $100 a month for that. Okay, I'm sold. Where do I move tomorrow? $200, $300 a month just to have a quiet place. That would be worth 10 times what I'm paying right now, right? So it's not that I'm a cheap bastard, okay? It's that even with this little money they get, they manage to fuck it up. Every new improvement is just worse, okay? Anyways, that's how I look at it. Well, I mean, I sort of knew that these things are not that enforced. I thought it'd be a little bit better, but they were somewhat important, right? You know, because again, they always love to brag about, oh, back in the '80s, we didn't let McDonald's come in here with their ugly arches, and they relented, because McDonald's wasn't allowed in. They would pressure local governments that the only way you could get a McDonald's in is if you put those ugly arches high in the air. And the standards here were, no, that's ugly. You can't do that. And now, and that's why also gas stations don't have those illuminated price signs by the side. There's none of that here. It's like, oh, we care about aesthetics. That's good. Now do LED lights that the township either allows to be installed in business areas, residential areas that are blinding, and then they themselves are installing it. Like, how did it go from, oh, those arches are ugly, gas station signs are ugly for the price, it's too ugly? Because in my hierarchy of ugliness, okay, that's pretty ugly, but it's just so much worse. The LED lights are just so much worse, and yet no one cares. So, whatever. Right. Well, not really. I mean, not really. Again, the lights, in terms of aesthetics and property values, I mean, again, as I've said, I'd love to get the fuck out of here. It's just everywhere else is this sloppy mess too. It's right. Again, this is not complicated. The residential standards say it's 2,700. Whoever wrote that in is not stupid. Because you didn't have to have those color temperatures for incandescents and halogens and sodiums. I mean, sodiums are even lower. That's why they're orange. But nobody had to write that in there. It's only with the rise of LEDs that somebody put that in there. And yet the township itself doesn't monitor that. And they themselves are putting in these blinding fucking things. So it seems to be totally ineffective that the very township that should be monitoring these standards doesn't even know what the fuck is going on. Oh, I don't know. I mean, next door or something. There's a magazine that's run. I don't have an right. Formerly Twitter, Instagram. There is a next door thing, but Woodlands Online sometimes I guess. I mean, Hello Woodlands is another magazine. I think I've seen that. I guess next door for the whole thing. I guess. I mean, it's just like whatever. Also, Facebook pages. I suppose. Who knows? That's where I got this survey from, right? So, yeah, just online. I think service requests or something. Right. Well, it wasn't about any of these things. I mean, it wasn't about any. Well, it was probably. It wasn't about any of these things. It was about like a couple. It was right across here. There was some brush that was coming into the road. I also like to run my miles there, and it was like you couldn't dodge that out of the way, and I don't want to be running around in traffic, So, but I submitted a ticket. They might ask about that. Who knows? I submitted a ticket, and then like 2-3 weeks later, people came out, but there's no acknowledgement of, oh, we did it, or, oh, thanks, because, right. The new ticket system sucks. Maybe we'll have to write that down here, right? You could just let me write something. This is just so. Hanging brush. I don't know. Request online. It was pretty poor. Again, I would say it's poor. Continue. Which of the following best describes your opinion of the level? Right. It's quite overdeveloped, right? It's say, I mean, it's not better, it's not worse. That's not an issue here, so that's good. How would you rate your overall? I don't communicate with law enforcement. Just oh, the me, yeah, just me, I guess, you know. Well, I mean, in the Woodlands, I mean, my house is still the Woodlands, but you know, does that count? I mean, I guess I'm in the right. Right. Yes. One. None. Okay, so here's the thing, guys. If I say there's no kids, you don't ask for their ages, okay? No children, continue. Right. Yeah, so it's not quite 10 years, but right. Makes it seem like a prison sentence. Which of the following categories best describes your local right? I'm not gonna answer that. That doesn't matter. Leave me alone. You know, very nosy people here. Yeah. Speaking of household income, the taxes, I finally have them back from the tax account today. Uh, because of all the nonsense nowadays, everyone's late in giving their stuff to me. And then, but the tax account's like, oh, because of the hurricane that affected here, it's actually only due in February. So taxes for 2023 are only officially due in 2025 February because I'm in an affected area. You know, nonetheless, I still want to get it done, but she's been sitting on it for 2 months. I finally was like, last night she was like, I have bronchitis, but she still got it done. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. Ugh. You should have gotten it done before your bronchitis, I guess, right? That's the moral of this story, huh? But anyways, I kind of felt bad about it. It's like you did have 2 months, but I mean, it's not that much of an emergency. It's just with all like the health insurance nonsense, you have to get like a somewhat estimate of your income. And then it's like, well, I don't even have it for 2023. And it's just like, leave me alone. That whole fucking thing's a mess too. Which of the following best describes your age? Well, unfortunately, I'm in there now, but, you know, whatever. Do you currently own? I own it, yes. The super bright white LEDs are horrible. They are blinding and look gross. Not very charming. The let's see here. Leaf blowers, etc., are too loud, even if the township does not have the power to ban them. The township itself should not use them. Rakes, brooms exist. A lot of the blowing is unnecessary, busy work anyways. Okay, so we're at 98%, so we kind of skipped there. I don't think whatever, but I did my part. I did my part. It's almost 48 minutes of this, so hooray. Continue. 77381. You know what? Let's go back. I'm going to put my email in here because my email is, and feel free to, feel free to drop me a line. Of cocaine. No, I don't even drink anymore. I'll have to do it. I'm almost coming up on 100 days of not even drinking. I just got tired of it, And I don't know. We'll do a video on that, I'm sure. But holy shit, drop me a line about these issues. Of course, of course not. It's anonymous. You don't have to put anything in there, but I'm putting it in there, you know? Anyways, what's my point? Continue. 77381 and continue. Thanks for taking the survey. So I'm not even sure if this went through. Maybe it's all bullshit. Who knows? But we'll see. We'll see. So that's really my concluding thoughts are. I mean, you know, we've been talking about this for so long. We basically did a This Place Sucks video yesterday. Same thing with OBS. With Cindy the rancher, or her 5-acre property. So it's like, okay, well. And again, even with the LED lights in a place like that, it's like, okay, so you put some blinding LED lights out on your back porch because, I don't know, someone's going to rob your house in the middle of nowhere. And then now I can't sit outside my porch at night because laser beams, right? It's these little nuisance things that you would imagine would be solved by any competent sort of government or local thing. But no. Right? What do you do about blinding LED lights at night from a neighbor now? Right? That I want to sit out there, oh, the stars, and then it's like a laser in your eyes. What do you do about that? I mean, on my band blinding LED Facebook group, there's people who live out in more rural areas. Again, it's the same few acres. They don't have a million acres, right? But they have a few acres. Oh, it's in the woods. Oh, it's rural. It's leaf blowers during the day and then blinding gulag lights at night. How charming is that? Not very. So everything sucks. It's all terrible. And that's what we're going to conclude on.